Okay. Officially, welcome everybody. Sorry for the delay. We had some weather difficulties where I am. Apparently, I've got some windows that need to be evaluated for there. I mean, it was sideways. It was crazy. Hailing, water piling up. My backyard is flooded. It's just standing water out there. Insane. So, okay. Here we are. It's Tuesday. Another good day. Another good day in the market today, although not a ton of volume, but we'll talk about that. Welcome everyone to the working sessions. This is where we're willing to talk about the beginner concepts. Nothing formal. And as we go, I've been mentioning to people, I've been saying, hey, that's a great thing to bring up in the foundations. So hopefully, when that is said to you, you're making note. And then when we get here, you'll bring that up, and that'll be a nice talking point for us. Let's go through the routine. Disclaimers as always. Not advisors, not brokers, no recommendations, no advice. Yada, yada. All right, let's get into it. Colgate. That looks like it's setting up. A lot of other things are maybe not. Yeah. Let's talk about what happened today. So, I need this over here. What is going on with my mouse? This is so strange. I cannot move this window. Give me a second here. My phantom mouse is having issues. I hate to be cliche, but when it rains, it pours, right? I know, it's terrible. Terrible. Okay, what is going on? There we go. Let's talk about today. Where did my Yahoo just go? I'm like making myself dizzy. If I'm making you dizzy, I'm making myself dizzy too. Huh. Okay. Well, let's just go to the market. I'm not sure what's going on if my internet's all the way back up or not, but there is today. So yesterday we said, all right, let's see, are the buyers done? Maybe not. We finished positive for the day. It was a doji, it was red, and then what today? We got more. We got better volume today than yesterday, but it wasn't above average volume. I tell you right now, I had already said, that's not the right color. I had already said this was enough. Now it definitely is. if there was any concern, we've now broken above the 50. So the buyers have done quite a bit. They haven't done it with a lot of conviction, meaning above average volume. We really only have like literally one day. Literally just one day. But it doesn't matter. This is where the underlying strength of the market is carrying this to some extent, right? Is my Yahoo Finance working? Let's reload. And the futures are flat. So what happened today? Well, man, none of my pages want to work today. What do we have today? We had the producer price index. The PPI dropped to 0.1. Core PPI was up by 0.1. This was a big one right here. PPI year over year, 2.2 down from 2.7. The market liked it. I mean, it was not across the board. You can see the core numbers are still like a bit iffy. Core year over year went up a tick. Core month to month went up a tick. But the drop that we saw in the PPI, the standard PPI year over year was big. The market loved it. Loved it. Why? Because it just gives the Fed more leash to go ahead and make those cuts. So tomorrow we get more, but I wouldn't expect much more now. Like, it's not like, oh, we got good CPI. The numbers are already pricing in improved inflationary numbers. So, yeah. What else? We have on Thursday, we have jobless claims, which eased back down where people are more comfortable. Retail sales, production utilization. Do I think CPI will push it up further? I think it could, but I think it's kind of all pricing in the same thing. So I'm not going to be surprised to see this current bullish move coming to an end. Right? Which is good. We want it to come to an end. That's the only way we're going to get new trades. So yeah, we'll talk about that. We will talk about that. Based on what we saw today. Let's see what the numbers indicate. Are you asking where are the indicators pointing for SPY resistance? I mean, there's going to be several levels we can look at. We're well below old highs, so there's plenty of upside room. So you'll actually notice that we're now better than 2-1 in favor of, this is a half a point here, right? That's a half a point cut. This is a quarter of a point cut. So the market has priced it in. And this information is further giving confirmation, essentially. November. Yeah, I mean, everyone's pricing in that we're skipping right over. And then we go to December. Yeah. Okay. Another bullish inflation signal could portend well for CPI. Okay. Well, let's start with this. What are you trading? What are you doing? What do you want to talk about today? This is a working session. What do you want to work on? We can go through the watch list and see what comes up. But if you have something particular, I'm always would prefer to start with that. Let me AXP CBRE. All right. Let's just start popping through. So you can see here, and this is where people are like, oh, but look at all this white. Should we get in? I want you to look. That's the move. We got something kind of like that right here. You'll notice. That's similar. We got something kind of like that right here. Ooh. With earnings, we a little bit got something like that. A little longer, and that required earnings. And the second one was a recovery after earnings. Those are the 5 biggest low to high moves that this stock has made in the last 6 months. There's 4 of them. Did I say 5? I meant 4. There's 4. Now, what would this tell me? This would say to me, is it time to get in? I'd be like, well, it's already moved at one of the biggest levels. Like, it's already done everything it's shown us the capacity for it to do, right? So if we were getting in, the question would be, for what? What would your expectations be? Because if we're going to talk about getting in, we know the rules. We have to then talk about, well, if we're getting in here, what's our stop? Where would I know I'm wrong? What's my target? How much do I expect if I'm right? What's my timeline? If you look at the prospects of building a reward to risk ratio that's even positive, let alone favorable, right? This is where it's hard. I have a very simple rule. I'm gonna show you this. Let's go back to the Heikin Ashi candles. This is really your last chance. There, I would say it was your last chance. Here, it's one of those two, and you can see it gave you a little bit of leeway, but I want to be in on that. I want to be in on the last red candle or the first transition candle, right? Or even now, again, remember this is earnings, so I wasn't going to put a trade on here. Or even on this first, that's it. These are the 3 days I'm looking to be in on from a Heikin Ashi standpoint. Sorry, I don't like the way that's so fat. Does that make sense? So this is a quick validator. I'm not using this as an entry signal, but I do like to just go check and be like, hey, my objective is last red, first white. Last red, first white. Last red, first white. Last red, first white. You could even go right here. Last red, first white. Okay? Now, when I go back to the standard candles, what are we looking for? Well, now we draw a line down here, and what are we looking for? You can see it came back and turned. And if I come down here, came down and turned. Right? There's that. That's a tough one right there, but it did it. Here you can see, comes down and turn. Here you can see, comes down and turn. Okay, that's it. All we're doing here is just saying, hey, do our signals make sense to us? Is this going to work? But with all of this, what are our prospects for getting into Apple now? It's not for me. Hard to make that case. maybe 3 days ago you could have made a case for like an hourly chart or a 2 hour chart where you change your perspective a little and you say, hey, I can at least trade these little dips. But at this point, even that's getting hard. Once again, why? Well, because we're at the length of what we've seen as the capacity for this stock to move. I'm not going to ask for more than I've seen it do. It's like, all right, this stock has made a 10-point move, 10-point move, 11-point move, 10-point move. And we're like, awesome. I'm looking for 16 points. And you're like, wait, did you just hear what I said? 10, 10, 11, 10, 16. No, we've gotten it. So that's something that I get asked a lot in coaching. How do I know? You never know anything. How can we evaluate? Am I too late? Well, that's going to be, again, a combination of probability. How likely do you think you are going to be right? And profitability. What is your reward to risk ratio? The longer you wait, ideally, that means you're getting more confirmation, and so you have a higher probability of success. The longer you wait, the smaller your reward to risk ratio is going to be. That's just an empirical fact, right? And that's where we're prevented. If this thing's already moved, what are we asking for? I'm looking for it to get up to 240, just going straight from 200 to 240, nonstop trip. It's never done that before, and yet we're asking for it. Amazon. All we had today is one more day of confirmation that we're on the money with thinking this is enough, right? The buyers have done enough that if the sellers are timid in any way on this mild pullback, we're going to look to trade. I'm going to look to trade. But this is where it's like, oh, the market was up today. I should be taking advantage of this. I should be getting in on this. What should I do? I should get in. And we lose patience because we're like, it's like when you're in traffic and you're like, oh man, that lane's moving. And then you look again and you're like, it's moving. And then you look again, you're like, damn it. And you jump in that lane. And then immediately that lane shuts down. And the lane you were in starts moving. Yeah. Don't do that. Right? That's not what we want. So, yeah. Relax. Let's wait. I'm not going to force trades. I'm not going to be like, oh, now I'm so bullish because it was another bullish day. So we know what we see. We know what we think. The posture stabilized, right? Remember that? Posture stabilized. If you weren't there, let me pop that up real quick. There's the posture. Long-term trend, stable at a solid 1.25. Short-term, stable at a still slightly bullish 0.5. Volume eased up a little bit. Okay, good. Major market dropped a little bit. The strength of the small cap move motivated by interest rates has ebbed. Sector rotation, there is quite a heavy bit of dipping into defensive waters, consumer defensive, the staples, utilities, etc. Volatility stayed the same though, and depending on what happens, let's say the market pulls back for a couple of days, and then it turns back up. That's gonna be a lower high. I'm gonna score that more favorably than not. So, is there a lot of opportunities right now? You're gonna have a hard time. Let's keep going. I'm gonna leave my numbers, see if they hold. Nope, they're too low. AXP, I like it. It's one of my favored financials. Barely even dipped below the 100, but it just hasn't given much, right? It just hasn't given much. Last 3 days, it's been basically at the same place. Volume is less than half. Um, there's some heavy old resistance right through this area here, which extends over. Great. I would much rather, even if this got higher one more day tomorrow, I'd rather wait for it to do this, and then that's my entry. And I know that's where, when I can get in here, that's where I'm thinking now I'm getting 2.5 to 1, 3 to 1 with a higher probability of success. Patience pays. BAC. I like BAC. But the same thing, you'll notice for 4 days straight now, what have financials done? Nothing. But if they pull back just a little bit, hold the 200, yeah, we have our go signal. BLDR. Oh, look at that. That just kind of snuck out of nowhere. Citi, I did not like Citi as much. You can see Citi's just barely back above the 200. Caterpillar. I like Caterpillar, but I need it to pull back. It looks just exactly as it has for 3 days. I'm still waiting for this pullback to come. CL. That's viable. That's close. If that turns, I would take it. I'm looking for it. CMG. What the hell's going on with CMG? It is chopping around. Gap down, sold off, then rallied back up. Big volume. There's got to be some news. What's the news? Did they have a salmonella outbreak again? Oh, Brian Nickel left. Is that the CEO? He left and went to Starbucks. Okay. Okay. Starbucks jumped today. Let's take a look. Oh man, look at that. Starbucks loved that news. Starbucks was just dumpster diving for a while after their latest earnings announcement. They missed expectations there. And then they, looks like they barely missed expectations here. But now all of a sudden they're like, but we got the coolest kid in class coming to our party. So what do you think about that? And the market's like, we love it. Can we come to your party too? It's amazing. And that's why Chipotle dropped. Oh man, that guy had a great impact. Amazing. Okay. CBRE. Someone asked for that, right? CBRE. Let me go see that. CBRE. Oh, okay. Okay. Now that would be a first first white candle, I bet. Boom. A little jiggly right here. But yeah. That would be something where I might say, hey, I can put a stop loss here rather than all the way down here. Target price. $86 to 12 points. 1950. Overly ambitious. That's one move. 2 moves. Elliott Wave tells us we still have 1 more to go. Huh? 1, 2, 3. Eyes on me. What do we think here? 110. So I would say my stop. Yeah, I'd be comfortable with a tighter stop. maybe 3-4 points to the downside, 10 points to the upside. I think you've got a prospect there. Yeah. Thoughts? Anyone? CBRE. Yeah, I think that's viable. That's a good call out. If there's anything that's showing prospects, that's it. For now. Maybe there's more. We'll come back to that. Let's get through the watch list. I see some more people showed up. Hello, everyone. Good to see everybody. We've been just chatting about market conditions. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. We said that CL is possibly setting up, and we said that this is one from David, CBRE of real estate, I believe. Nice strong stock. That's a nice viable option for a trade right there. We're gonna, for now, if we don't have anything else pop up, that's what we're gonna explore further. Those of you who are just coming, good to see you all, by the way. Glad to have you. Okay, where were we? Costco. I love Costco, but it's got to pull back, right? We're not looking to jump in now like, whoa, maybe it'll keep going higher. CSX pulling back, no. Carvana, oh, Carvana just popped. That was tough. I wouldn't chase it down. It's up 10%. We missed it. There's the Dow. Fastenal, FAST. It's bouncing. It seems like it. I don't know. I like Fastenal. I think that has some prospects to it. Let's see. Maybe not quite yet. A little bit more action. Bit sideways. Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more. A little bit more. Bitcoin. Ooh, what's Bitcoin going to do? It's running out of steam. Gold is hitting some resistance. GM. I like GM on a pullback. Google hasn't done enough for me. Home Depot just did earnings. How did they do? 454, reported 455, or they exceeded, but barely, but yeah, good day. Small caps today, trying to turn back around. Who did better? Hard to say. Hard to say. JP Morgan is another one of mine that I like, but it's overextended right now. There's not much we can do with that, but wait for it to pull back. KBH, no. Coca-Cola, no. Oh, Coke's close. I like CL better, but Coke's a maybe. Meta, just so strong. Look at that. I got to wait for the pullback. Now it's almost going to be a cup and handle. MMM, that's a possibility right there. You'll notice what there's a pattern. All of the ones that were like, oh, this looks pretty good. Where are they? They're in consumer staples. So yeah, I would say MMM has some validity to it. What was the other one? CL. Morgan Stanley, I like JPM better. Microsoft. Oh, hey, Microsoft. Looky, looky. Popped on up. Looking pretty good. Little pullback. Ready to go. Ready to go. Micron. I mean, NVIDIA had a big pop today. But I still think I like TSM better. Netflix, I like. Netflix and Meta are carrying the communication services group right now. NVIDIA looks good. It's done enough. Right? It has paid penance. We're back in good terms. All we need to do now is wait for that pullback. Made some money. Good. So then you're trading some shorter term signals, I would imagine. Maybe looking at 2-hour charts, 1-hour charts, or were you trading coming out of this? Yes. Okay, there you go. Love it. So that's something that we've talked about, right? Is, hey, I can come down and I can try to catch some of these little pops. You'll notice a lot of these pops come overnight. Sideways, 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 boom. Sideways, 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 boom. Sideways, right? And so it's like we got to catch that early on. Yeah, a few different perspectives that you can look at there. Your time frames will be shorter. Your stops will be tighter. That's how that works for us. NVIDIA OII. I don't know. That looks like a shoulder. Looks like a big old head. PLTR looks great. We need to wait for a pullback. QQQ reemerged. Technology is reemerged. This looks fantastic. This is what we said we're likely looking for to happen. Right? So, yeah. SPY. Wow, that looks so strong, right? TJX. IFI, TSM. I love it. Just waiting for a pullback. The dollar staying down. We like that. The VIX. All the way back to 18, you guys. This is such a blight on the market. Such an overreaction. My goodness. Right? It's much better, isn't it? Interesting thing is we're still not all the way back to the old lows. I like TSM. Walmart. It's a bit iffy. Okay, let's take a quick peek at our sectors. We'll take a little break. When we come back, we're gonna look at CBRE and play with it as like a setup candidate. XLB materials look okay. This looks great right here. Communication services looks great. Energy looks weak. Financials look strong again. Industrials look strong again. Technology, money's flowing into all the right places. You can see Staples is a little iffy, but that's where we have a couple of interesting looking things, except CBRE is real estate. That's why I'm looking at that one. Utilities. Utilities actually looks a little defensive still. And here's healthcare. Okay, that's what we have. Look, things have improved quite a bit to the point where it's like, hey, it looks like we're coming out of this ready to go. But that doesn't mean that we can just start jumping into trades. We're still waiting for the right signals. A lot of things are not showing signals, so that's what we're going to be patient for. As of now, we do have one that we're going to look at. So let's take a quick 5-minute break. We've been going here for 40 straight minutes, even starting a little late. If anyone pops in, you can let them know. Although I'm going to turn the slides